Greetings and salutations. May the 4th be with you if you're watching this in the vicinity of that holiest of holy days. And let's talk about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4. Full spoilers follow. And again, a reminder on my background, which is played the first game, watched the first season, did not play the second game. And so some things I know, but a lot I don't. And especially in this portion, now that we're getting further in, I don't know a lot. And what I really didn't know about was Isaac here. This was a character completely off my radar, presuming he's from the game. But freaking Jeffrey Wright, come on. Just one of our greatest actors. What an introduction. I loved how the scene was a misdirect because so much focus was on sort of the young rookie. And it's like, okay, well, this guy's significant, clearly. What's going to happen with him? But then we weren't paying attention to the dude in the background with his head down, not showing his face until he looked up. And hey, it's beloved actor Jeffrey Wright, beloved Academy Award nominated Jeffrey Wright. And just bringing so much gravity like he always does to this role. And meeting this guy who's made this big decision that Fedra is bad for people, the person who's sort of fighting to survive in this situation, and he is going to not just join the wolves, but he's all in to the point that I let out a audible "oh shit" watching on my couch by myself when he threw those grenades into the back of that van with those guys, because it's just he's decided that was the group he didn't want to be with. These are the group he does. And this was the situation he was going to go on. And as we see as the episode progresses, he is all about making, I don't want to say tough decisions because he does horrible things. He does horrible things, but he clearly thinks that is motivated about protecting his people, the people he has chosen to be his group. But great introduction for him. We briefly also saw Alana Eubank. I love her. She's been so great for so many years, and everything from the Brady Bunch movie to, well, I always think of her first and foremost as the voice of Liz Allen on my beloved Spectacular Spider-Man.
Petey! Yeah, Petey.
But just got a little hint of her here. I put the character's name down, but can I say this right? Hanrahan? Don't know. I don't know if I'm saying that at all right, but I'm assuming we'll hear it again going forward and we'll get to know her more. But I love that setup. And then I loved kind of learning what an absolutely dire situation Ellie and Dina are wandering into, because it's not just watch out for the wolves. The wolves are dangerous and there's more of them than you expected. They're also walking into the middle of this war between two factions that have really just sort of lost control, and it feels like it's just been escalation on both sides. We see what the scars, I'll get to them in a moment more, what they did to the people from the wolves that they found, and they just freaking tore them open and flayed them. Bad stuff all around for poor Ellie and Dina here as they're on their mission of revenge, but they have a lot to deal with. And that is a great way to raise the tension for our heroes here. The Scars, kind of a silly on-the-nose name for, a group of people that, give themselves scars, but I'll let it go. It's funny how off I was wondering, maybe that was it. We saw that weird group last week, and then they got killed apparently by the wolves, so maybe that was just to show that the wolves are the really dangerous one. No, that was just one small group representing a larger group that, have been in this sort of war, it looks like, for years and years. Seeing Isaac torture that guy, my God, he goes so far, the sort of dehumanization, and, he's got this guy stripped naked. He's horrifically burning him and hurting him. Isaac just, you could just say he's off the rails. It just feels like, as we've seen, not just this story, but other post-apocalyptic stories, people have just sort of dug their heels in, and they feel like the way to protect themselves and protect their group is to sort of cross line after line. I think, you understand it in a situation like this. I think, if life turned to hell and the hordes of infected mushroom people were attacking and killing everyone and turning them into more infected mushroom people, I think a lot of people might lose it in the way that Isaac has here. And I think that's what's great about Jeffrey Wright playing this part, though, is that he is so sort of measured and such a controlled actor, and he exudes sort of such control, but now we see him doing it in service of playing someone who is really doing some just awful things. Ellie and Dina, this was a really sort of obviously sweet and important episode for them. I thought it was surprising last week that we didn't really show them on the road that much. That one tent scene aside, it was mostly done in montage, but we kind of got the material we might have got with them on the road here, I felt like, including a huge scene with them being chased by the infected, which was extremely effective. the scene in the subway. That was, absolutely terrifying. And, good on them when you can make me nervous for a character that I am pretty sure is not going to die. Like, I didn't think Ellie was about to get killed right after Joel, but when she was trying to get out and get up through that hatch, I was like, get the hell out of there, get up there. So really good job with that tension. But then we just sort of saw this connection forging between them more and more. The Take On Me scene, it's funny, I forgot I was spoiled on that. I remember that song had been used in that Last of Us 2, the game. Take On Me is one of those songs that I feel like should be probably banned from being used in movies and TV for quite a while. That and Holding Out for a Hero, I feel like they are just go-tos. I've heard them in 10 million movies. Sometimes I hear them in the same movie. But I will give you a special situation here to use at Last of Us because I know it was in the game. And also it was just a really nice scene, it was just this scene of connection and the fact that Dina was sort of emotionally affected watching her perform, and that both tied to the connection between these two girls that was forging, but also Joel and, him having sort of casting a shadow over this and the parental figure he was to both these girls. That we got glimpses of with Dina. So yeah, I really like that here. So, okay, now no one else used Take On Me for, I don't know, a decade. Just let's give it a break. But it was pretty great here. And then some really good one-liners, I thought. Dina's "What the F is wrong with Seattle?" Great question, Dina. It does seem very messed up. And then I really liked how this episode did a great job of evoking the game. Now that's funny for me because I didn't play this game, The Last of Us 2, but when the two girls are hiding in the room with the guys that have all been killed, and the soldiers come in, the wolves come in, and they're talking to each other about get those guys down and I don't care. I was like, oh, well, this has to be straight from the game because it feels so much like a video game sequence in general, but especially a Last of Us video game sequence, having played the first game. And I just thought it did a terrific job of kind of giving you that vibe, that feel of playing I say these games. I've only played the first, but it really brought me into that world that I knew so well from the video game side of thing. Dina being pregnant is one other thing I was spoiled on. It came up a lot when Alien Romulus came out because I know Isabella Merced playing another person who was pregnant in the middle of a horrible situation. People couldn't help but say, and she's about to play Dina. So again, this is on me. I didn't play the game, and so people are going to talk about things throughout this time. But yeah, we got sort of the reveal of that here. And of course, it kind of all leads to this big getting it on scene for Ellie and Dina. But I think the lead up was really terrific because Ellie saving Dina using the fact that she's immune in almost like a superhero way, right? Like getting in front of her, putting her arm out so that she's the one bit. That was great. And then, of course, Dina understandably not knowing what the hell's going on, thinking, oh my God, I have to kill Ellie. Wonderfully emotional between them. Dina panicking, crying, Ellie trying to convince her not to do it and why she shouldn't do it. Wonderfully played between the two of them. And I really liked, I'll get more to the direction in a moment, but yeah, I really liked when Ellie woke up and Dina had the flashlight on her and you didn't even see Dina's face. It was just like the flashlight shining forward as Ellie's trying to say, look, I'm okay. And the fact that this is what would sort of lead to this big passionate moment between them, it feels sort of perfect for any story like this that's post-apocalyptic because it's like sex and death and love. Everything's intertwined here. Everything's so heightened. The situation is so heightened. They could die at any point. So yeah, I thought that really worked, that this would be the crazy moment that they would hook up together, would be while they just survived being killed by hordes of infected people in a subway. And one of them has a wound that probably is still bleeding a little. But yeah, great stuff here. Really just so well played by these two actresses, and these moments between them as they're, talking the next day, and the sweetness and the funniness. Now, it's interesting that both of them, the characters are supposed to be young. Ellie's supposed to be 19, and I think Dina's like a year or two older, but they can read even younger, these two actresses. And so on one hand, it is kind of funny and weird for them to be talking about starting a family, and they're going to have a kid together and all this stuff. But also, again, it's post-apocalyptic rules, right? It's like these are girls who have had to grow up very quickly. And yeah, it makes sense in this situation. You're not like, they're too young to start a family. Well, they're too young to be having to, shoot soldiers and try to get away from crazy infected mushroom people chasing them. That's just the situation they're in. And yeah, I thought it really sort of sold in the midst of this. And I'm very much invested in the two of them and their relationship, which I knew was sort of a key component going into this season. I'd heard a lot about Dina, and I knew people really like cared about her and her and Ellie together. I think they're really capturing that here, and down to these final moments where Dina's like, "No, I'm still with you," even though her being pregnant makes the danger even greater for her going forward. But yeah. Just I'm really digging this season. I'm curious about the whole like post Joel I'm out part of it that we heard people rumbling about, and if people who have stayed with it are like, okay, I'll give it a shot, but I don't know if I'll care about it without Joel. I'm still very much caring about it. The direction. I mentioned how good it was. Kate Herron directed this episode, and she directed all of Loki season 1. And yeah, I just thought I looked up who directed it. I hadn't noticed at the beginning because I was like, oh, I really like how the style of this episode, the way it captured the video game feel, some of those directorial choices I thought throughout, and the fact that it has to really be the episode that fully sells you on the love story. There was a lot of stuff to balance here, and then Isaac doing terrible things. And I thought it really nailed it. And a couple other moments I'll mention that were just kind of funny and amusing. The two girls not recognizing the pride symbol, and maybe they were optimists. It's just a funny line no matter what. It's also kind of a sweet sort of melancholy thing because these are two queer girls, and so that symbol would be significant to them if it were significant to anyone anymore. As we've seen, homophobia has existed on in the apocalypse because people can find a way to be horrible no matter what, extra levels of horrible. But you're still just happy that these girls found each other. And Dina's line, I don't just randomly piss on stuff, when she's explaining the whole thing with the pregnancy test and how it works. Very funny. The idea of the apocalypse and what has survived and what knowledge and people like Joel would be passing on certain pop culture and certain things they want to make sure that these kids are kind of listening to, growing up with, or just sometimes it just be what's around that can entertain them. But that, yeah, a pregnancy test, how does that work, would not be knowledge that everyone would know anymore, or what a pride symbol is. I like these little tidbits, these little glimpses we're getting into the larger world of The Last of Us, which now exists so far into this apocalyptic future, and to see what is surviving on. All right, so yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes now that we're kind of in the thick of it, in this messed up Seattle, and all these different factions coming together. And no Abby still, so now I understand why Caitlin Dever was not a series regular. I knew so much about Abby being important, it surprised me that she's I put that in air quotes, guest star. But yeah, I see that she's not in the whole season, and I'm sure she's coming back. And we'll see how that figures in and what her dynamic with Isaac is. Curious about that. All right, guys, what'd you think of this episode? And if you can like and if you can subscribe, that would be great. I'll be back with more soon. Take care.